taking its time. It took them bloody ages. The Texas Star's got papers on it as well. Papers and no shoots.
Oh, so it's yeah.
So I turned around and I noticed that there are no fault lines. So I asked the guy who was our owner, I said, are there any fault lines on this stage? And he goes, nope. So I said, there's no rearward fault lines. He went, nope. I said, there are no sideward fault lines. He went, nope. Right, you are. So a couple of people have done it. They're taking ages. I was like, okay. So I opened the door, leaned in, grabbed my pistol, ran around the outside of the back of the stage, fucked off down the end, and got 10 alphas with the stoppage in like 6.5 seconds. And Dave Ashcroft is literally it's like he had a tumour explode. It's like fucking eye touches. He goes, you can't fucking do that. I went, I think you'll find I can. He's like, but.
So we're back at the shop, chatting stuff, mini rifle. Yep. Shit about mini rifle.
Yes.
So we were talking about it on the range the other day, and it's like, well, actually, what kit do you need to get into mini rifle? Where do you start? Where do you go, really? And we thought, actually, we'll just get Matt back on and have a chat and say, right, what do you need?
Right.
Where do you start? What's the game? And we can talk about rifles, kit, everything else.
Let's start with what is it, shall we?
Okay, yeah.
Right at the beginning.
Everyone knows what mini rifle is.
Like actual information on it. Okay, mini rifles, IPSC discipline.
IPSC
stands for International Practical Shooting Federation.
Cool. Other disciplines are
available. So mini rifle was adopted in the UK mainly because we can't shoot full bore centre fire rifles. Full bore being centre fire ammunition, basically.
Yeah. Sorry, just to clarify, you can shoot.
You can shoot it, but you can't shoot. You can't shoot it in a semi-auto or a self-loading rifle.
Yeah. Before we get all the naysayers going.
Yes, you can. I've got a 50 cal. So you definitely can't shoot 50 cal in mini rifle either because it's not mini. That's maxi.
Kind of gives it away, really.
Yeah. So mini rifle, it's 2.2 long rifle. So rimfire cartridges. Most common platform at the moment is the AR type platform. Others are available. So it's a practical rifle discipline with targets ranging from 1 metre out to about 110 metres. I think is the maximum target distance for the proof stage.
Targets being.
Yeah. So we've got full size IPSC there, and a mini, which is or a 60% target. And they've started bringing in micros as well, which are even smaller and just a bit more ridiculous.
They're also marked up with, you can see the light, but there is an Alpha, Charlie and Delta.
Yeah, so the 3 scoring zones, Alpha being your middle scoring zone, so that's 5 points per strike. Charlie being the next zone out, which is 3 points per strike. Delta being 1 point, which is on the outside.
And scoring being the same as usual. If it breaks the line slightly, but you get the highest
if it breaks the line, the highest score counts, but it does actually have to break the line.
Yep.
Discretion is advised.
RS discretion is advisable.
Bribes are available.
Yes. That's exactly why you always carry a bag of jelly babies with you, just in case. So we shoot to what's called minor power factor. Right. So it's 5, 3, and 1, as opposed to 5, 4, and 2, which I think it is for major. Okay. Might have to check that for the edit. Okay. So it favours accuracy a bit more. Really, you want to be going for a majority of alphas with a couple of Charlies. If you're shooting Charlies and Deltas, you are not going to run fast enough to be able to make it up, to be honest.
This is why I shoot 3-gun, mate.
Yeah. It does take a bit of marksmanship skill on it. You do actually have to aim. You've got to sort of make.
Yeah, you've got to be on it.
Yeah, you've got to be on it. You make well placed aimed shots to be able to score any sort of decent score.
And it's not. Is it just papers on mini rifles?
It is. You've got papers. You've got steels. Frangible targets. I've certainly not shot in a match. I don't think frangible targets are IPSC. They are. Okay. I've just been informed in my ear. I've just been informed.
Our producer.
Producer just told. So frangible targets are apparently eligible for IPSC matches, level throws, but I've never shot one in a match.
Yeah, because like 3-gun and stuff, we're always shooting clays and different bits and pieces. I just didn't know whether IPSC it was. But I think there's different things out there, but plate racks and stuff are still as long as they've got to be a certain size and bits and pieces. But you can form to.
Well, that's the good thing with IPSC. All the targets are homologated, if you will, so they're all work to a certain conformed size. Falling plates are usually poppers are usually calibrated, so they're make sure they go down. Again, need to double check that because I think I remember reading the rule book that the falling plates aren't calibrated for mini rifle alone.
Yeah.
But yeah, falling plates, paper targets, and you know that anywhere you turn up, the targets are all going to be of a standardised size, and the scoring and the rules are all going to be standardised as well.
Cool. So basically, you're just looking at holdovers, and you know what you're shooting at. You don't have to worry about what size it is and all the rest of it further down the line. Yeah,
pretty much.
That's quite cool, actually. Yeah.
Okay. So as for the kit, obviously you need a rifle. There are many flavours available. A very common, quite a common platform is the AR type platform. AR M4. We all know what they look like.
Yeah.
Here's one we found earlier. So it's a very familiar shape to anyone that's ever seen any film ever, or ever watched a war movie, or ever wanted to be a Navy SEAL. There we go. So the most common platform, probably because it's cheap and it works, is 1522 or Smith & Wesson.
Yeah.
For which we also have one behind us in these crazy Art Deco colours. So I'll bring that down over your head.
So the 1522 is a great out-of-the-box rifle as it stands.
Yeah.
It's what, about 600 quid-ish? I can't remember what they are.
There or thereabouts, with a couple of mags in the box as well.
Yeah, a couple of mags and ready to rock and roll. Pretty much, you could take that straight out of the box, down the range. It's a reliable gun, and you're ready to rock and roll pretty much. Or you can customise it to your heart's content.
Customise it up, jazz it up, make it look like an absolute tarts handbag, as I've done here. So the 1522 is a really good platform to start off with. It's cheap. You can do almost anything you can fit off of a normal AR will go onto one of these.
Yep.
So you can run grips, you can run stocks, you can run triggers, you can run magwells, you can run hand guards with an adapter. You can run all your optics and everything else. You can run your jazzy charging handles. So you can absolutely spec up to your heart's content. Do you need to do all of it? For competition-wise, no. Ergonomics and fit, it's just making it fit you.
And it's going to come down to personal preference.
And personal preference, yeah.
So, I mean, my gun's completely different to yours, and likewise, Christian's will be fundamentally different again, and it's what fits you, what works for you. And, I don't have all these side optics and stuff, because I'm a simpleton, really. So, but it's what works for you, and also different things will put you in different divisions, and and bits and pieces.
So you've got two main divisions. You've got open division, which is optics, red dots, or any electronically operated sights or magnified sights. You've got standard division, which uses traditional iron sights. So you'd have a fixed post at the back with a ring and a front blade on the side. On the front, so you'd have no magnifiers, you'd have no lenses, you'd have no red dots or anything else. The divisions are pretty much the same. The only mechanical difference on the guns being that you can't run a muzzle device in standard.
Okay. Yep.
So it's the same ammunition count.
So that would classify as even a standard bird cage.
Yeah, even a standard bird cage. There's been quite a lot of talk over it on whether it's a muzzle device. Muzzle devices are supposed to be things that aid the reduction of recoil. Let's face it, it's 2.2. It doesn't make any difference. But I think they're currently working on the ruling that anything that screws on the end and has got holes in it is a recoil device. So I think it just keeps it as a blanket. Rule then.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in terms of the gun, I mean, there's guys out there that shoot Ruger 1022s and are exceptionally good with them. There's the AR platform. I think has probably been one of the most successful ones. I think because out of the box you can buy a pretty damn cheap gun and get on with it, and then equally you can then go and spend thousands on a mini rifle that is.
So those ones that John Thorne's running, the old
Chris Vector.
Oh, Chris Vectors, yeah.
They look nice. I've not shot one, so I don't know how well they function and what they're like. But let's believe they're quite good.
Yeah, well, they've certainly got a bit of jazzy appeal because they don't look like everyone else's guns. They sort of styled on the Chris Vector, the 9mm Chris Vector rifle, but it uses a completely different system. It's just a normal gas blowback thing.
So being a Chris Vector makes no difference at all.
No, it makes to be honest,
subject to the exercise.
Exactly. So to be honest, most of them are much the same. So the 1522 is the only one out of the box that was built from the ground up just to be a 2.2 platform, which is why it works very, very well. A lot of the other rifles, ARs being the Lego of the shooting world, are fantastic because you can do whatever you want with them. So a lot of the higher end ones all use pretty much the same bolt and barrel assembly, which is by a company called CMMG. And regardless of the package on the outside of what you're paying for, the barrels are all pretty much the same. The bolt and action is pretty much the same. And after that, it's sort of fit, finish, the final product price that you're paying for.
Which rifle have you got here? This one?
So this is a bit of a test mule that I've been working on. So it's a Calibre Innovations Scar lower. It's got a standard sort of AR M4 type upper, and this is running a CMMG bolt. and it's also running a heavy stainless barrel with a mod on the end of it. Again, so that same action would be the same things that you'd find in the Landtac, you'd find them in the battle arms, and to be honest, most of the metal or sort of mil-spec type 22 ARs.
Yeah. But this one's had the Ali Mad Scientist
Yes.
barrel mod on it.
Yeah. So Alistair, formerly of Calibre Innovations,
Still-
who still is, he pops up every now and again. He's like a myth.
He's
The myth, the legend.
The myth, the legend.
Yeah.
You'll hear a whispering, he'll pop out of a hedge behind you at a speed stills match.
don't make your name too loud.
Yeah. If you say his name 3 times in the mirror, he turns up and ports your rifle for you. So yes. So this was sort of carrying on a bit of work that he did with some barrels where the problem with the CMMG stuff is that it has like a little collar that mounts on the front of the barrel, and that's usually the failure point where it snaps a little feed ramp off. Doesn't matter how expensive your gun is, it's just part of it, and it can happen on anything really, and I've seen it happen quite a few times. So what Ali came up with is actually machining the breech face.
The front end of the breech
Yeah, the
face,
front end of the
yeah.
breech face to actually accept the
bolts
CMMG
on it.
bolt on it. So the feed ramp is actually milled as part of the barrel face.
Barrel extension, isn't it? Yeah.
So you don't have any dissimilar metals, you don't have any free play. It's just there and it works. And it's it's been a really, really nice bit of kit.
Yeah,
far.
but again, so you can basically make custom bits, as people call them, in terms of people just buy bits and pieces and throw them together, or you can get there's companies out there that make them from the ground up. So Cotswold Classic Arms.
Yeah, Cotswold Classic Arms do some really nice kit.
He does some nice kit. We at Calibre Innovations have made some bits and pieces over the past. I think there's some other bits coming down the pipeline. Watch that space, I think, in terms of what's happened in there. But equally, you don't need to spend thousands. The Rugers and the Smith and Wessons. And if you've got an old Ruger knocking around in the safe that you've shot gallery rifle with for years, crack on. You don't need.
Have a go.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, but that's the beauty of it. I mean, you obviously once you start sort of getting up to the higher end, or you're a bit of a competitive knobhead like I am, then you'll start chasing like tenths of seconds.
Yeah.
But if you want to rock up, as long as to do anything with IPSC matches are done in levels.
Yeah.
So level 1 is effectively an unsanctioned match. So you can turn up, you can shoot it. You don't need a safety certificate to do it. You don't need a competition license to do it. You've obviously got to have a little bit of announce around you. And if you rock up, a lot of clubs run sort of level 1 type matches. Rock up, tell them it's your first time, and people will
coach you through it.
Exactly, people will look after you. You're 1-to-1 with an RO.
Yeah.
So the RO follows you around on stage, and he's watching everything you do anyway, keeping you safe.
And giving you pointers and actively coaching you as well in most cases. Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
all good ROs, rather than sort of standing there bracing you of all the things you didn't do, they'll take you aside and just tell you the things you should do.
Yeah.
And again, because it progresses everyone else on, it's good for everyone's safety. It's good for everyone's sort of growth in the sport.
Yeah.
So to shoot sort of level 2 or level 3 onwards, they become sanctioned matches. So they have to follow specific rules and specific wording. To do those, you do need a competition license, which you can do. I've seen sort of Calibre have had. Kentucky Firearms Club have had them at their quarry days.
Connor's at Maglo comes down and does courses. He's got other instructors as well. When the UK PSA have got a load of instructors. Dave Smith and there's a whole bunch of the.
In fact, the long gun discipline is probably one of the best spec'd for instructors and for doing competition licenses and everything else.
I think it's a great course as well.
Yeah.
I think it's well worth doing. If you've got into shooting in general, I think, and you want to do a little bit of competitive stuff, well, even if you don't, you learn a lot from just going along and getting stuck in doing the two-day course.
It's 2 days. If you do
well worth doing.
Yeah, it's 2 days full. I mean, I did a practical shotgun course many moons ago, and it was 2 days of full-on getting pushed almost outside of your comfort zone to a degree, just to see how you kind of, and that's the best environment to do it in, isn't it? In terms of doing a course, because you're not in an environment where if you mess up, you're going home kind of thing. It's around actually how do you push people and sort of do a bit of yoga at the same time in terms of lying down and all the rest of it, and I think it was absolutely great. And generally, the instructors are fantastic in terms of UK PSA stuff. I mean, there are other practical courses out there from like the NRA and stuff like that. But if you want,
I can't rate Dave Smith and Corrigan high enough.
Well, Dave and Ian did my long gun course for me when I started many moons ago. brilliant instructors.
Yeah.
So as I said, there's a whole wealth of knowledge in a lot of those guys as well that they're willing to impart, and I think that's the start of most people's journey into the practical world, and it's great. So, and it's a good leveler because if someone's walking into that stage with a competition license, they've got a really solid founding of where you start. But you don't need it to start out, so you don't have to go and spend and invest all that time, money, and effort to start with. But I mean, Christian and I run a club, and we highly recommend that people do it pretty much off the bat because you know you've got a certain level of understanding and knowledge, and you're approaching the even though it's an unsanctioned level 1 match, you're approaching it in the right frame of mind, spirit, and and what you're going to expect.
Even for we're going abroad, with this we ask people who've done the courses, and we kind of know what level. Who we can allow to do what without really worrying too much about what they're doing, and we know they're going to be safe. And
you know they're going to be safe. You know they're going to know what they're doing with the trigger finger. Then they're going to have their muzzle awareness and everything else. Which is the competition license. It's a bit of the term competition license. It's a bit of an odd name for it. I mean, you need it to be able to compete, but it's
more of a safety stick,
exactly. It's getting you safe that you could rock up to a competition, and they know that you're going to rock up. You're going to be safe, and you're aware of what you're doing.
That's anywhere in the world as well.
Yeah,
so, you could go and shoot a competition somewhere in like the States or South Africa or at least they know. I've never met this bloke before. Oh, he's got that license. He's got that certificate. Crack on. Go and join that squad.
Exactly, and they know you are at the very minimum at a level where they can let you get on with it, and you're safe and competent.
So
you might not be fast and you might not win, but you'll be safe and you'll be competent.
But everyone starts somewhere. So what else? What other kit do you need then?
Obviously you need your rifle. Open division is the most popular by a long way. Standard division, it's picking up a little bit. It's not hugely taken up at the moment. Shoots the same rules and everything else, which is a bit odd because over here we like to pride our marksmanship abilities with open sight proper iron sights, but open division seems to be the most. I
think it's easier, isn't it, to a degree?
Because you've got a dot, and it does make aiming a lot easier. It doesn't make hitting the target any easier, but you can see what you're shooting. So only other thing you really need is a belt. So I've got is like a good rigid 2-part shooting belt. You can see if I sort of hold that out, the belt doesn't really flex. So you want a belt that's good and rigid. So when you grab your mags and you're pulling them off, the belt stays still, and you're not trying to sort of tug your belt up. You're not.
Again, we're 2-part belt kit, so you've got a Velcro pit that goes on the inside on your actual belt loops on your trousers. So hold your trousers up, and then the outside one Velcro.
There we go. So that goes through your belt loops. That wraps around the outside, and you've got a couple of little keepers that hold it in place. 3 mags. To be honest, 3 mags is probably a bit overkill.
Two I'd say is the minimum, really.
Two at least. Although I'll be honest, I've never stepped onto a stage, regardless of the round count, with any less than 5 magazines. Because you can never have too much ammo unless you're drowning or on fire. And I've watched people go, oh well, that's 150 rounds for a 10-round stage. I've seen people have multiple stoppages or magazines fail, and so they've dropped 2 magazines out, and they've 0 to 10 round stage with 60 rounds and 2 mags.
No, it's quicker just to dump a mag and put a new mag in.
Exactly, rather than messing around trying to get a round back into the top of the mag. Just dump it out, clear your stoppage, crack on, get rid of it. End of the day, it's just about keeping the speed and the pace up.
So in terms of belts, you can spend anything from sort of like 20 quid, well, probably even less than that in terms of cheap, Chinese stuff that's not necessarily that rigid. Then you've got other stuff in there. So there's the Hobman and Schumann stuff.
The Hobman and Schumann stuff, which is what I've got there. It's a different inner belt.
And then you've got the Maglo do a stiffy belt, I think, don't they? I think they call it, which is quite a funny name actually. And then you've got Double Alpha, which I'd probably say is like the sort of premium price tag. I wouldn't say necessarily more premium in terms of product, but they're out there. So there's different things available, different price ranges you can get to. I
mean, to be honest, a good belt is your good foundation, to be honest, because everything else that can go onto it is always going to be carried by the belt. So getting sort of a good rigid belt is probably the best place you can start. With this, I've got the Hobman and Schumann quick release mag pouches.
Exchanges.
With the exchange, so that just clips onto there. So that's good, especially if I'm going onto a prone stage, I can flick those off. And I can actually get down without having to line on top of my mags and everything else.
Which is really uncomfortable.
Even particularly with my svelte frame.
I can explain from my from the investment in mine, I can say it's really uncomfortable. There's a whole world of stuff out there in terms of mag pouches, belts. You name it, it's there. So, but you don't need to spend a fortune to start with.
Kit wise, that's about it. I mean, obviously you've got your normal sort of PPE. So you've got your eye protection, you've got eyes and ears. So I use a little pair of moulded sort of in-ear plugs, baseball cap to keep the sun and the brass out of my eyes, and a pair of Oakley shooting glasses.
Most important of all, a sponsor t-shirt.
And of course a sponsor t-shirt, which is very few and far between, very exclusive.
Makes you shoot much faster.
Absolutely, and makes you look well tasty in all the videos.
The aerodynamics that come through on that. But yeah, so I think that's cracking. But yeah, I'd say if you need to ask any questions or anything, just fire them through, and Facebook, wherever, other channels are available, and we can answer questions and fire them off to other people that we know and shoot with, and we can ping some links out there if people want to know. But yeah, mini rifle, great way of getting into firearms,
and a great cheap way of doing it as well, because they hold their money well. You could probably sell them on for a year's time with what you've already paid for them. You can pick them up very readily second hand if you're not sure, you just want to dip your toe in. Sadly, you'll be hooked. But as far as kit setup goes, it's probably one of the cheapest disciplines to get into. A belt, 3 mags, and a rifle, and you're on your way.
And you're on your way, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But we all know that mini rifle leads to then practical shotgun.
It does indeed.
Mini rifle a gateway drug.
It's another gateway drug, isn't it?
Is it really?
Yeah.
And can you hunt pineapples with them?
You can.
Actually, I think they're probably quite good, especially if you like going for stealth.
Yeah,
Really?
and also
stealth
I mean, they won't hear the round before it's
and also if you want to stuff and mount your pineapple, they don't do too much damage.
Yeah, make a nice little hole.
Yeah,
This one was got violated, but
anyway, on that note, we'll bring out some other disciplines in other episodes in terms of LBPs and full bore stuff and shotgun and all the rest of it. But yeah, appreciate it, Matt. Thanks for imparting some of your knowledge, and
thanks for having us on again.
That's right. No, it's good to see you.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.